Sergeant at Arms, please march on your colors.
Color party. Carry color. Quick, march.
Thank you. Rabbi Langner, would you please? This year, Remembrance Day will be observed with a slight difference. It will not be just the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, but also of the 11th year. For the first time since Remembrance Day was inaugurated in 1918. Now, in the Hebrew language, each letter has a numerical value. And the number that is highlighted here is 11. And there's a word that adds up to 11. In Hebrew, that is chag, which means a festival, a celebration. Now, the two terms, remembrance and celebration, seem to collide. If it's a Remembrance Day, it cannot be a celebration. And if it's a celebration, somehow having it as a Remembrance Day with all this solemnity that is entailed doesn't quite fit. But the truth of the matter is that it is both. Remembrance and a celebration. In recent weeks, there have been all kinds of protests in various cities in the United States and even here in Montreal. Many young people forming the core of these protesters are unhappy with the system such as it exists and wish for change. Seems to me that even though democracy is not something perfect and quite flawed, nevertheless it is the best form of government in the world today. As Winston Churchill once put it, democracy is a very poor form of government, but nothing better has ever been devised. And what so many people forget is that the system which they are unhappy with today would have been quite different had those who have made the supreme sacrifice in 2 world wars. Well, we no longer have any veterans from the First War, but we have of the Second. and had Hitler come out on top, what would the world be like today? You know, Hitler really won the war. And it was only the sacrifices that made possible the victory of the Allies. And if Hitler had triumphed, the world today would have been a vast concentration camp. The so-called Aryans would have been the masters and the rulers, and non-Aryans, well, at best would have been servants or slaves to the masters, or at worst eradicated completely, just as the Jews were, who were first in Hitler's list. Had he continued, other people too would have been totally exterminated. So this was the choice that we had, and it was only because so many of our compatriots sacrificed their lives in this terrible war with the exceeding number of casualties that we are able to still live in a democracy with freedom and justice for all people. And so today we remember, it's YM-YWHA, those who made it possible for us to live today in Canada in a free country. And we also celebrate the victory which they helped to bring about. For without that victory, there would be no remembrance and no celebration. And so on this occasion, I say, Chag Sameach. Let's rejoice for what they achieved, even though it was done